Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be reviewing Plan 40. It's a design symmetrical wall system. It belongs to a gigantic collection, very powerful. Let's dive in. So let's review the details of this very composition. This composition is 320 centimeters wide, 44 centimeters deep, and 218 centimeters high. It can be easily enlarged up to 352 simply by widening this back panel behind the television and this central unit from 64, for example, to 96, and the overall total would get to 352. As to the single elements, we start from the lower unit, which is 64 and 32 centimeters high, and it aesthetically it does connect to the upper unit because it appears to be as a single column, which is actually cut through by these mid elements, and this upper column is 64 centimeters wide and 160 high, and you see how you have the glass shelves inside. You have 4 of them for a total of 5 spaces, and all these units are 64 centimeters. Actually, this is a single piece comprised of 2 drawers of 64 centimeters. Then you have the central tilting element, which can be made wider to enlarge the composition. Well, tilting elements are convenient. For example, when you're sitting on the sofa and you want to control entertainment units inside the cabinet with a remote controller. Then you have another 128 with the true 64 centimeters drawer, and you get to the total of 5 linear elements here. And the final column is just identical to the first. So very symmetrical, very clean, like an inverted dolman, I define it. Some more details. So back panel behind the television. It's actually an optional because you could imagine resting your television onto the cabinets. You could attach the television onto the wall, or you can attach it to a back panel like this, which becomes not only decorative because it does create a frame all around the television, but together with the LED lighting, here we are in daylight in front of the commercial windows, so we have much natural light coming in. But if you imagine this lighting in a lower lighting setting in your home at night, for example, well, this is the perfect lighting to watch television or to play games. So you can choose the panel. You can choose whether you want it with or without the LED lighting. Bear in mind that it doesn't have a dedicated switch. So you normally prepare a line before assembling the unit, installing the furniture. You prepare a line, you control this line through a switch in a wall in your room, and from there you control the LED lighting, which is very subtle, but in dark lighting conditions, it looks great and it creates great conditions for your eyes. Here I'd like to point out an important detail about how tops are managed, because these from the plant collection are the cabinets with the integrated top. What does it mean? It means that, you see, this is the top, okay? And the door does cover the top itself. When you follow this approach, you will have joints between separate units. So here you get up to 320 with 3 items, 1, 2, and 3. You have a different approach, which is an old, I would define it's actually an older approach, where you have a single top on top of the cabinets. In that case, you will have your top which rests above the doors. In that case, you will not even have these lines here up to 3 meters and 20. It depends on the material that you choose, the maximum width that you can reach. But the point is that you will simply have a different look because you will perceive the top actually resting onto the doors. I might say it looks older because this is more modern, but it's a matter of taste. For example, I'm an old guy now. I do prefer the former approach, while many people do prefer this more modern approach with the integrated tops. What is your take? Write it in the comments. We've seen that this very composition is offered here with push-pull openings, and bear in mind that the plant collection allows you to choose from multiple handles, which are then customizable in terms of colors and lacquers that you choose, and you can also have a grip version. So not only you can change the looks of your composition by approaching different ways to manage tops, but also the openings. And the openings do influence not only the practical practicalities of using furniture, because, you know, I do appreciate more handles and grips rather than push-pulls, but also you can influence the looks. So, plant collections, we have loads of materials. We have laminates, we have lacquers, we have woods. In the laminates, we have texture laminates, plain laminates, we have peculiar finishes like this one, which is called metal smoke. It's actually textures, quite rough when you move your fingers on top of it. It looks very modern with this grayish shade. Sometimes it becomes a bit more brownish depending on how the light falls onto it. And so you have multiple textures which allow you to create effects that cannot be achieved on lacquers or cannot be achieved on woods. So choosing laminate not only keeps your investment down, you spend less, but it gives you also gives you a very resistant surface and effects which are not available on other materials. Then you have lacquers. Lacquers, you can have matte lacquer, shiny glossy lacquer, and micalized lacquer. And this is the micalized nickel lacquer. On the micalized finish, you don't have the choice of all the colors of the matte lacquer and shiny lacquer. And well, I'm not fond of this effect, also because of the limited number of colors available. But for those who like it, well, it's very peculiar because it's a matte lacquer with a metallized effect, which is indeed unique. And then we also have woods. So we have the fashion woods finishes, which are beautiful, and they range from the lighter colors to the darker colors. And then we have open pore with around 10-12 colors, and you know, open pore, it means that you lacquer on top of wood and you perceive the veneer both when you touch it and both when you look at it. So, well, we said this is symmetrical design composition. It is built around the concept that you have these bases, these cabinets in the middle, which kind of intertwines with these two side columns. This sort of composition works well when you choose two materials, two colors, because it creates even more this effect. And with this wide variety of materials and colors, you can create an effect that you desire, because you could combine a laminate with a wood finish, you could combine lacquer and the wood finish, you could combine different finishes of lacquers, different finishes of laminates, so the limit is your fantasy. So we've come to the end of today's product review for the Plan 40 Design Symmetrical Wall System Composition. See you next time.